I'm surprised that you didn't take issue with the depictions of nudity and lustful depictions of female characters in this comic. I'm also surprised that it made it into any book that calls itself Christian when it's a very obvious problem. What's the deal? And then the other question of the same nature. Now that comment is under my Parables issue 2 review of the sections of the book that highlighted Mariella's story on her I had my response there. I would echo my response after you gave yours. But the next one was to on the pinup on where I was asking the just putting it on YouTube, community post saying based off of this image alone, using one of the few pinups of Jellybean, which I can't wait to see her in action and the last brought forth with the last gen. Based off of this pinup of Jellybean, what superhero name and superpower would you give her? And someone took issue with the image, saying, "With all respect in the world, if you are truly interested in expanding Christian fiction through comic books, female heroes and even men should be dressed more modest. This is in no way appropriate for children. It's entirely too revealing. I also think Christians have failed to grasp the spiral from soft porn to actual porn. It happens this fast. It is also all over our cartoons as kids. It's all our cartoons as kids also." Felt like fumble when I was reading that. But I am like these two people picked a bone with you and your depiction of in women in these two cases. So I am putting that before you, and then I will give my response statements.
Well, they're absolutely correct. Um, Sometimes we hire artists and they go a little crazy, and I've already invested the money, so I just kind of go with them. Even some of them are a little questionable. Some of the outfits could be better, but I mean, they're superheroes. What are should they be wearing dresses and high heels and culottes? I mean, there is a line, and one of the things that is being done going forward is we are trying to make sure that the female characters are drawn with a little better proportions. So they're not that kind of target where it'll cause someone to lust or whatever. And being a comic creator, that's a hard line to have women because there's nothing too practical you could put them in. They're wearing gymnast suits, and that's kind of what superheroes wear. But I am aware of that, and I have been a lot more conscious of that as we're moving forward with things.
Well, that echoes my response to the two questions as well. Because like for the Mariella issue, my thing that I said to my response to it was that, well, and then there's also the perspective of like loss, especially of someone who has overcome loss and whatnot, overcome loss for myself personally. Like recently, I deactivated my personal Twitter account and deactivate my personal Twitter account because it's just like everything, I don't know, everything on Twitter. I could go into a Christian creative comment comment section or on a Fortnite comment section because I make my Fortnite games and just be lambasted with gifts that are not well for the flourishing of
Right,
man. So I
right,
personally
right.
decided to deactivate it because then it's just like bombarded with those stuff. But my
Right.
response to it was that when, especially with how you guys drew from with Jellybean in particular, Jellybean and that issue of Mariella. My response to the one with Mariella was that she she the context of it and the way it was drawn, at least to me personally, it reflected how characters like Adam and Eve are drawn in the Bible with the like seen in depictions of like folks like Bible Project or the Action Bible or everything. It was silhouetted. It wasn't it wasn't drawn in a lustful way or
Right.
to like spike pride. Let me pride to spike lust. And then I also say
Right.
is like sometimes there's like some things when it comes to especially with someone who is like not talking about myself but like just from personal experience before, is like when you're struggling with lust, you have the ability to undress and see everything as lustful. So there's
Right.
some things where it's like, because then there comes a point where the person isn't even dressed lustfully. Like if you know that you wrote, if you wrote the backstory, Jellybean's backstory, she would be one of the last people to be drawn or to be promoting anything lustful or
Right.
lustful or anything like that. So for me, I was telling them is like if that was like talking from my own experience with lust and stuff, is like if that is like causing like, because I remember watching from a Ruslan video where he was talking about that topic on like people like, oh well, all of a sudden this becomes like everything this like turns into a tightrope where it's like, well, that's not even lustful, but it's lustful to me. And it's like, well, yeah, it looks lustful to you, but in reality, it's not. Like what, like in reality, what do you want them to wear? These are Christian superheroes who, to me, at least, well, the actual official Remnant artwork that goes into it. Not talking about, because there are some fan art for this competition that I said in the comment section of this video that if anything ever starts to venture into that what I would deem as lustful or erotic kind of area, I am I am finding your phone number and I'm calling you like, yo, what is this? And I will call it out. But in these particular depictions of like Jelly Bean, I think me personally, I found it was like a overreaction to it, especially that image of Jelly Bean. Like when you look at the image of Jelly, I went and carried it and showed it to my sisters. They know fashion and stuff, and I'm like, do you guys think this is like lustful? And they were like, well, no, the girl just has a curvy body as a black woman. And I'm like, well, yeah, that makes sense. And then as I say, I pinpoint a thing where when someone is like struggling with lust, my thing to that person is like, well, you need to take that personally to court. Because as the Bible, like, you need to take that personally to court. Because then you start to like police everything according to that. And then when people actually look at it, it's like, well, no, it's not making me lust. And she's like fully covered. There's no like kind of like anything showcasing anything. It's a bodysuit, a full bodysuit. Like, what do you mean it's revealing?
Well, Pink Spade, sometimes the artist tends to draw her opening really low. So, and I'm like, no, you cannot have her breast shown. It needs to be up, but the collar needs to be up. It can't be low. And there's been some things like yoke that I almost did not print because after the artist had sent the art, I was like, this is a little too risky.
Yeah.
But money was sank into it, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna have to go with it. But we are very conscious of that. So awesome. If anyone, whoever had that criticism, we do take that seriously.
And if you guys if anything ever comes out that like it's too far on like actual official, because I mean for the art contents, like there's some things you can't stop with some people,
right?
Especially because I know the Remnant has a strong, from what I see, a strong non-Christian audience as well, and non-Christian creatives who participate. So one of the things I saw for this wrong is that with Rapture, in some of the early depictions of Rapture, the chest area is not actually revealing. It's like a red, I believe it's like a red dot in the blue, not so?
Right, right.
Yeah, but like for some of the drawings that I'm seeing coming around in this cycle of the contest, it's like cleavage, and I'm like, wait, no, that's not the characters. That's not the character's design. Where did that? But those are in non. If you publish that, then I'm using. I told one of the guys, like, if Bill ever goes down that route of lustful depictions or whatnot, I'm framing this comment. But at least for the examples that they were using at the time with Parables issue 2 and that image of Jelly Bean in context to what the characters are about and stuff, for me it wasn't spiking lust. But I'm glad that
really women. No one wants to read a comic and there's ugly women wearing like Mennonite suits or Amish suits. I mean, it's just, God created women, they're beautiful, and I think we try to portray them in that light, not a lustful light, but as beautiful, strong Christian women.
That was the same. Well, that was the perspective I got from the very first couple issues of the Remnant, especially with folks like Polka's backstory, and some of their backstories is like in in reason they would be the last ones to actually representing God. They would be the last ones
Right.
to ever want to adorn a lustful looking suit. I'm pretty sure like the way you write the characters, if they were ever presented with a suit like that, they might like beat someone up really bad, especially in that